Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Finally a movie that I enjoyed with Steve Carell in a while. This movie I've actually been looking forward to for quite some time, mainly because I love Bryan Cranston. And I heard about this movie and I was shocked that it was a thing, because it didn't feel like something that Steve Carell or Bryan Cranston or even Lawrence Fishburne at this point would have done. So I was looking forward to it. I had heard that it was okay and wasn't like the best thing, but I don't look into reviews before I watch things because I don't like to taint my my ability to review. And I'm going to be very honest with you here. I'm really excited to talk about Last Flag Flying. Last Flag Flying was released in 2017. It was written by Richard Linklater and Daryl Paniska, I think it's pronounced, and directed by Richard Linklater. So Linklater, I haven't seen a whole lot of his films, but I have seen Before Sunrise, which I loved, which was written and directed by Richard Linklater as well. So I was really excited to watch this for so many reasons, an unbelievable amount of reasons. And was I disappointed? No, I loved this movie. I know that there are going to be people that disagree with me because they might not like it. I really had a fun time watching this movie. It is available on Amazon Prime, free to subscribers. So if you guys have Amazon Prime, you can watch this movie. And I would recommend watching this movie. Essentially, we're following Doc, whose son dies in the war. And so he goes to find his other war veterans that he was friends with, and Doc was friends with. And he basically regroups his old friend group, and they go on a road trip to bury his son. This is a non-spoiler review, as all of my reviews in the future are going to be. If you guys do want a spoiler review where I talk about the spoilers of the movie, consider subscribing, for one, because it's a huge help, and we're almost at another goal. And comment down below if you guys would like a spoiler-free review. Also, drop down below what you guys thought about the film. I'd love to talk about it with other people, so consider doing that as well. Essentially, they get together and they go on a road trip to bury his son, and it's a really touching movie, because we have these parts where we're so sad, right? Like, there's this one part in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler, where, because obviously the son's dead, that's like the first thing you know in the movie. We see Doc go to see his son, and it is such a tearjerker. And then the funeral that happens, which of course there is a funeral, it's not a spoiler because you know what there's going to be a funeral, is one of the best scenes that I've ever, in my life. I love it. It's so good. It's a good scene. And the balance between drama and comedy here is so great, particularly with Bryan Cranston's character, who is so funny. I love it when Bryan Cranston can relax and be funny, like in Malcolm in the Middle, for instance. If you guys like Malcolm in the Middle, I love Malcolm in the Middle. It's a great sitcom. I love Bryan Cranston in that, but then you also get times where we can have Bryan Cranston in Your Honor or Breaking Bad, where he has to be this hard person that is aggressive. And this is definitely one of those more laid-back films where we get to see him be funny, which aids to the film a lot. Is it a perfect film? No. There are issues with it, particularly in terms of pacing. There's this one scene where he goes to visit this person that has nothing to do with the plot at all, literally almost at all. And I guess there is a point to it. I'm not going to discuss the point because it's spoilery, kind of. But there is a scene that I feel like we didn't really need, because it develops our characters a little bit. But it's like a 20-minute long scene that I don't feel we needed. There's also some other things, like the army general is really mean for almost no reason. It's why can't he just respect Doc's decisions? I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you, because the movie is so good that these negatives are really negative for me, because if they just thought about it a little bit more, it could have been perfect. And that's really annoying to me. The acting in general was really flawless. The three main characters are perfect. The writing is really good. I love a lot of the lines. I love the dialogue. I love the relationships that we build here. We're building upon relationships that are already built, right? They haven't seen each other in 10, 20 years, and they're meeting each other again, and we get to see them rebuild their relationship and basically learn that Doc may have a mysterious past that we didn't anticipate having. So that's kind of scary. But I think it was really smart that they decided to hold that back. I'm not going to tell you what I think it was. It is a little bit spoilery. They don't really mention it a whole lot, but I do have my own thoughts. If you guys are curious about that, you can email me at robertsreviews at robertsreviews69@gmail.com. That is my public Gmail account for Roberts Reviews, so if you guys want to do that, that's fine. Although the best way to contact me is by commenting on the video. If you guys have any thoughts on this, please consider letting me know. I love talking about movies, particularly this one, which is really good. The directing was good too. I think that it has some flaws. I think that it could have been better. We could have seen more interesting camera movement. For the most part, it was very stale, which I understand because it's a very stale movie. It's about a dead guy, basically. But I think having some more interesting camera movement might have helped with the attention span that I have. I was able to watch this movie all the way through without any problem, mainly because of Bryan Cranston and even Steve Carell at this point, who is re-enlightened with a whole new film genre. And I don't know if it could have been better. I think that it probably could have been better. I don't know how it could have been better, but it could have been better in terms of the directing here. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the acting here. Starting, of course, with the reason that I watched this movie, which was Steve Carell as Larry, or Doc Shepard. So, as mentioned before, his son died, and he used to be in the wars and all that stuff, and so he goes to find his old friends. Now, Doc is this quiet, really quiet person who is, very sentimental and, is just kind of trying to be out of the way of trouble and all that stuff. Except for this one part where he gets a couple drinks in and he becomes a little bit more Steve Carell-ish, which honestly, I think added to the film a little bit here. Him being able to relax and be himself a little bit more gave us a little bit of a depth into Doc's character that we were lacking in the beginning of the film. Steve Carell's almost you can't tell it's him sometimes because he's got this really thick mustache. But it looks good on him, and I think it was good in hiding the fact that it's Steve Carell a little bit and giving us a little bit of a room here, really, to just delve into his character a little bit more without realizing it's Steve Carell. I think he did a 100% better job than most of his other movies. The issue that I've had with Steve Carell in the past is that he plays the same characters over and over again, and they're very boring characters. This character is really fun and really deep and really interesting, and he doesn't go all Steve Carell on it. With all his movies recently, it's been very Steve Carell. I mean, even with Last Flag Flying, even with Battle of the Sexes, that felt like Steve Carell, even though it wasn't him at all. But that movie just didn't showcase how he could transform a character. This did. This was hey, I know you're a funny guy, and you normally do comedy, but what if you did this really interesting drama character and it worked so well for him? I am so happy we finally had a movie that I liked with him in it. It's been a while. Let's see, when was the last time that I saw a movie that I actually liked him? I kind of liked Cafe Society. That was a few weeks ago. Again, that was the 4th of March that came out. And this video comes out on the 25th. That's, a few movies that I just didn't like him in. And that's just one example. There's a bunch of them that I just didn't care for Steve Carell very much in. And this is very much Steve Carell's movie, as much as the other two actors in this movie. It is quite a remarkable movie. And really, I think it's going to transform Steve Carell's career from here on out. I'm really excited next week. What are we watching next week? We're watching... Are we really? Oh my gosh, we're watching Beautiful Boy next week. I love Beautiful Boy. Or at least I did when I was younger when it came out. I watched it when it came out because I wanted to watch it. And I liked it a lot. So I'm hoping I like it a lot again, but I suppose we'll see. Next we have Lawrence Fishburne as Reverend Richard Mueller. So, he was in the war, of course, the other two people. And then he goes home and he decides to become a preacher. And his character revolves around being, a spoken word for God. And he doesn't proselytize Christianity on you, so it never makes you feel like you should be a Christian, which is good because I don't like movies that push religion onto people. And this one, is like Hacksaw Ridge, for example, is a great example of a movie that has a lot of Christianity in it, but doesn't tell you should be a Christian. This is another good example where he's like, hey, I'm a Christian, all that stuff, but he also does bad stuff and all that stuff. And of course, his relationship with Bryan Cranston and Bryan Cranston's character here is very atheist and anti-God, and it's really fun to see that little pushback on him. I think that Lawrence Fishburne was really, really good. I think this showcases his abilities very well. I haven't liked him very much in the past, but I'm excited to see more of him, because I think I have a couple movies with him coming up soon, but we shall see. Bryan Cranston as Sal Neal, and best character in the film. I love it so much. If you guys have ever seen The Breakfast Club is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It really is. I can't remember his name for some reason because I'm so tired. But the bad guy, the jerk in the movie. He is very similar to this character. I really liked his character a lot. He's able to be really funny and really laid back. He owns a bar. He's drunk half the movie, and he just can't stop talking ever. And it's such a fun dynamic because we get to see him talking a lot and being very enthusiastic about everything and kind of a jerk. And then we get to go see Steve Carell, who's kind of sad and reminiscing about the past. And then Lawrence Fishburne's character's in the middle. It's a really solid movie with Bryan Cranston. And again, I think this is another career highlight for Bryan Cranston, although he's got a lot of career highlights. I will at some point do a Bryan Cranston series because I love him. So I'll be doing that, I promise. But I think it's going to be it for me talking about this movie. I had a really great time. Is the movie fantastic? Yes. Is it on Amazon? Yes. Is it perfect? No. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this movie an A-. I think an A- is fair. I did have a lot of issues with it in terms of the directing and a lot of the pacing issues. But the movie and the story and the acting is so perfect. It had to get an A, but the minus is definitely there to show that there are some insufficiencies with this movie that just don't quite line up with expectations here. Looking forward to the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have Total Recall, the new one, which is requested by Chance. If you guys want something requested, drop it in the comments down below and I'll add it to my list. Although I'm full for the rest of the year, I will add it to next year's calendar. This weekend we have Alien and Godzilla, as well as another review for Film Club. I don't remember what movie I'm watching, but I'm watching a movie for Film Club on Sunday. So look forward to that. The Vault, I believe, comes out tomorrow. There's probably another review. There's probably another thing coming out tomorrow. I don't know what it is. As well as another Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode. So make sure you guys are looking forward to that. Please consider subscribing. It's a huge, huge help. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie down in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie. If you guys have seen it. If you haven't seen it. If you're going to see it, let me know. It's on Amazon. It's really, really fun. And I think you guys should watch it because it really is quite a good movie. Well, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated. And I'll see you guys in the next video.